showing here that Pyatt was hit right after the Rogers, and these is our locations here, the Briarcliff and Salesville. Jordan is where I live. So the Briarcliff and Salesville was hit extremely hard with an F3 now. The mountain home, they said, got straight line winds, but there was significant damage to mountain home area also. This gives you an indication of where Baxter County is. And now that you have an idea of the location, the county layout, and where this hit, we're going to start studying now some maps.
1 out of 5 lowest risk possible only in western Arkansas, and that's going to be Kansas. So that risk, you can see all these severe thunderstorm warnings, tornado warning, couple tornado warnings down in Texas. Like I said, these storms will die out before they make it here. They won't completely die out, but they're going to weaken a lot. So this is 8 p.m. That's when I think we could see some showers, maybe a thunderstorm enter western parts of Arkansas. But like I said, watch what happens. Falls apart, and we'll just be dealing with a 20 or 30% chance for showers overnight. By tomorrow morning, sunshine will be back out and another beautiful day. It will be hot, it will be humid, but staying dry for most of your Sunday. Here's 4 p.m., basically all day long. And it looks like storms will form along this cold front. And any storm that does will be capable of producing a tornado. So we'll be keeping get issued in Arkansas maybe a couple times a year, so we need to take this risk for severe weather very seriously. Like I said, I'm recording this at around 5:15, and you can see thunderstorms, severe thunderstorms, and tornado warnings have already been in Field, Missouri. So this is a punch, and we need to be paying attention later tonight. So it looks like the main timing for these severe storms is between 6 p.m. and about 3 a.m. So this is at 8 o'clock Sunday night. You can see that line of thunderstorms moving into north central and central parts of the state. Now, it doesn't look too impressive on this model, but it has the capability of being very impressive. Very damaging storms will be likely along this front. You could see Forecast Track doing a little bit better job showing that later in the evening. So this is after dark. This is when storms are most dangerous. 10 p.m. You can see them moving into central and 3 in the morning.
Which once again, we've heard a big, giant, but we've got enough left to where I think that we're going to make a big difference for the people down there near Valley View, Texas, that have suffered extensive damage from the big tornado that happened tonight. So we'll keep you updated on Twitter as well as far as what our plans are, as how we're going to respond and how the Y'all Squad's going to show up. Hopefully there's no more big tornadoes tonight. But if there is, make sure you have a way of getting warnings, especially in Arkansas. This sail right here is going to continue to cause problems all night long. Severe damaging winds, tornadoes, hail, the whole 9 yards. It's eventually going to go through Harrison, maybe even down towards Calico Rock. We might even have to be worried about the Jonesboro area in the MCS sense by the time it gets down there. So,
before we get back into some dry time. You can see what we're talking about here. Developing line of storms. It's a big line of storms out to our west, prompting tornado watches into southern Illinois. Those tornado watches go until 11 a.m. Locally, no watches or warnings.
tornado warning alert from the National Weather Service. Tornado warning for western Fulton County in north central Arkansas, northeastern Baxter County in north central Arkansas until 5:15 a.m. At 4:38 a.m., a tornado-producing storm was located over Diamond Bay, or 9 miles east of Mountain Home, moving northeast at 40 miles per hour. There would be a damaging tornado with quarter-size hail. Radar confirmed tornado. Impact is flying debris will be dangerous to those caught without shelter. Mobile homes will be damaged or destroyed. Damage to roofs, windows, and vehicles will occur. Tree damage is likely. Locations impacted include Salem and Fulton County, Sellsville, Viola, Briarcliff, Norfolk Dam, Diamond Bay, Flint Springs, Ott, Gamelia Landing, Sturkey, Byron, Moco, Baday, Elizabeth, Mitchell, Robinson Point Landing, Henderson, Jeep, Norfolk Lake. Please take cover.
family of 4 in Baxter County is reeling tonight after a separate EF3 tornado flipped the camper they lived in. You can see some of the damage there. One child got seriously injured when Sunday morning storms blew through this area. Hayden Savage joins us live from the RV park tonight where the family lived. And Hayden, how are they doing tonight, including that child?
Yeah, hey, good evening, Paul. Right behind me here is actually what's left of that trailer here in Baxter County. Travis Russell and Crystal Sewell and their 2 kids, that's where they laid their head at night. And after seeing the damage left behind, they say they're glad they're alive.
Said, Mom, I'm scared. I don't know what to do.
Travis and Crystal were awake around 4 o'clock Sunday morning right before the tornado hit.
He opened the door again, and right as he went to take a step, the camper started doing its wobbling thing.
The winds picked up the camper and threw the family out the door. Then just seconds later, the camper landed on top of them.
The camper, it lifted up, it flipped over on top of us, but with us being in the doorway.
The 2 did their best to protect their 6-year-old daughter Leah and 2-year-old son Trey, but after the storm had passed, the kids weren't right beside them. They searched across the RV park for their 2 kids, and Leah was found with a broken leg.
She was laying like 6 foot away from me, but I couldn't hardly see her because it was so dark. And she said, my leg's broken, I can't move.
My right leg was broken, and then I tried to move it, and it hurted so bad.
Due to downed trees and damage in the road, it took first responders quite some time to get to the family to treat them.
They did everything they could to get to us, but it took about 4 hours for them to actually get to my daughter. And we had issues getting her out of the house because of all the debris.
All 4 sustained injuries, but none were life-threatening. They were treated for their injuries, and Leah was taken by helicopter to Children's Hospital in Little Rock, but was released a few days ago. They're now staying with a relative in Salesville and are on the road to recovery.
We're fine, but we're healing up and stuff.
For people like the Russell family who were displaced by the tornado, a resource center is open at the Salesville Fire Department.
They can get help with everything. We have donated clothing items, we have food, we have water.
The center will remain open for the next few days, then the city will reevaluate.
We've had it open since Sunday. We plan on having it open at least until Sunday, then we will reassess and see if we need it open sooner.
Now, I spoke to the Baxter County judge today, and he told me that the Arkansas Department of Emergency Management, as well as FEMA, have been here in Baxter County, and today they're going to make that decision of whether to declare a disaster here in Baxter County or not. Live in Salesville, Hayden Savage, KY3 News.
So this video continues on. It's quite a long one, and I have changed the order of this a couple of times. I know that viewers really just want to see the destruction of a storm and hear about what occurred, and they don't necessarily want to listen to any kind of research that goes into whatever it was that we were discussing. So I've left that on the back end here. I have not added all of the photos of the storm. They are still coming in. And I have not added all of the tragic lives lost. I think there was over 8. I tried to focus mainly on Baxter County. Excuse me. And we did only have one fatality in Baxter County. The others that are on here, the other 2 are from, I think it was Marion County, but they were on Facebook, so I decided to include them in here. Everyone deserves to be memorized. And if I had their photo and their obituary, I would most definitely add them in here. Because this is so long, and I've already been working on this for about a week now. Has it been a week? I think I started on the 27th, 28th, so no, it's only been like 4 days, like 4 or 5 days. So I just wanted to point that out. I still see a lot of things coming through in our group. We have had a tremendous outpouring in our community. And here in the Baxter County community, we are blessed with that. We are a retirement community. I also want to bring that up too. This is a retirement area. There's recreation, there's hunting, fishing, boating. That's about it. There's nothing that you can go to like a big city and have a lot of fun in, but this is what the retirement folks enjoy, and it's also where people come for your holidays. And this was a holiday weekend. I think we forget about that. This was Memorial Day weekend, and we had plenty of people in our campgrounds, and Briarcliff is one of those places. We had the RV parks full. We have there was a picture, I did not include it, but there were had tents, and there was tents blown everywhere, and there were baby gear in those tents. So we have families that come out to enjoy this holiday in this beautiful location, and was hit by this tornado. It was absolutely devastating. It's just by God's grace that we don't have more deaths than we do. To have the EF3, to have it hit campgrounds and RV parks, and just all of these massive trees down, that we only had one death in our county is a miracle. And I don't want to sound mean, but that death was a 73-year-old woman. She has lived her life. She has raised her children. And I just think that is just God's grace. I did include a video of the family that was in the RV, where the RV was destroyed. They are alive. God's grace. Okay, so on this back end, following this recording right here that you were listening to, we'll go into why I feel like maybe we were not prepared enough. Because I did look at my radar prior to the power going off, and there was nothing there. I saw nothing there. Um, so I'm just going into some details about the location, so you get an idea of the county and the location of where it hit, and some history of tornado sirens, how they worked then, how they work now, how they're supposed to work, and going into a little details about can we even trust these Doppler radars. So if you want to end the video right now, move on with your day, that's great. But if you want to stay and see about some little research things that I have found and my opinion on things, and go ahead and keep watching, I appreciate it. Please give a like. If you don't like this video at all, I can understand. I'm still new at all this stuff, and I'm not a film director or anything. But I would appreciate it if you would just give it a like to support those that we have lost. To just say, hey, I see you, I get you, and this is my love. I'm sending you my love, and just give it a like. All right, so from here on out, this video is going to go probably in the boring direction of some data, and I do appreciate you taking the time to look at this if you're still here, and I hope that you have a wonderful, safe summer ahead. So the recent storms that broke out in Arkansas, May the 25th and into May the 26th, mainly May 26th early hours, between the hours of 4 and 6 a.m. This got me thinking about a lot of things, having witnessed what I went through during these storms and my experience, and then trying to do the research on this and running into a 1984 scenario with the data that I was finding. I decided that I would put a clip together, and mostly it's my opinionated clip. It's not, there may be some data out here that I just was not able to find on Google and other local outlets. Again, it is kind of weird how um, the previous reports that, because they record all this stuff, and I just can't find it. I can't find the Doppler radar. I can't find where they might have been giving warnings. This would be particular to the Weather Channel and our local broadcast area, which would be for our TV would be KY3 out of Missouri, KTLO in Mountain Home for our radio. And this brings up another point in case of, back when Obama was in and he converted the analog to digital, that really hurt a lot of people, put a lot of families in harm's way, because when the weather gets bad, it acts just like a satellite and the TV doesn't work. So we're not getting the radar, we're not getting the news channels, because it just doesn't work. Analog was there, so in the storm, it worked. It would be fuzzy sometimes, but you could still read that map. You could still hear that news anchor warning you. So, big red flag that I think really started off this very dangerous scenario to our life here in the Ozarks. Our power went off at 4:30ish. I'll have to go back through my notes. 4:30ish, power went off. I was able to look at the radar prior to that. I did get an alert on my phone also prior to that. It all happened within a 5-minute span of my daughter sending a text. We have a tornado siren going off. I'm looking at the radar and say, well, I don't see anything. And then my phone gives me a tornado warning, and then power goes off. So typically, a tornado siren will go off for us here in the Ozark County, and we do not automatically run, I shouldn't say county, in the Ozarks area, we don't automatically run to a storm shelter. We turn on the TV, we turn on the radio, and we are looking for a map. We want to know, where is this and where is it headed? Because if the storm is north of the county, there is no reason for the south of the county to take shelter. And so many times people have done that only for nothing to happen. So we have a false sense of security, and because of that, this is how we have adapted to that. We want to look and see. And because we're unable to look and see because of the digital age and the lack of our power scenario, I was blind. I had nothing. I had no internet. I had no phone signals. I'm trying to say, and even though I had one tiny bar and I thought text could get out, they were not getting out. So I was just blind. I did not know where the storm was, how bad it was, where it was going. Yes, I was a little scared. I was alone with a child. I was babysitting, and I was in a home that did not have a good, safe place. And I was not going to be leaving that home because, it would have been more dangerous for me to have left that home. But that got me doing a lot of thinking, and I wanted to find some alerts. Of course, in my head, I'm thinking, oh, if I just had Ryan Hall on my phone, he would tell me if I need to take shelter. And I'm going to point out that that was not the case. Okay, so I have just put this up on the screen just because it's not been updated for 4 days. Wait, let me see. Never mind, it has been updated. Sorry. We see a lot of the red tornado reports, and right now they're only indicating one for survey, but you can see all the reports there. So I'm just going to kind of give a bit of some history and my thoughts, and you can chime in whenever you want to. I reckon. So I think I might have got this in order. Forgive me for being like all over the place. Um, so it's interesting that people will move to our area too. And I guess they're coming from areas that don't have tornadoes, because every time we have a siren go off, they wonder, what is it? What does that mean? Uh, so let's see. I was not able to find the exact date of when they started incorporating the Doppler radar to signal the tornado warning siren. And it can, and some do that. And I was unable to find when they started doing that. But we see here that our first successful tornado forecast was in 1948, paved the way for some warnings. Now, these sirens have been around uh, since the Second War. Some helicopters coming through. Let's see. Don't know if you can hear that. So, commercial radio and television are the main sources for warnings for a minute. And of course, we know that our TV has changed since then. Storm-based warnings were adopted by the National Weather Service in 2007, and it says it was replaced county-based warnings. And as communication advances continue, tornado warnings will eventually be delivered via precise locations, via GPS and other technology, through your cell phones, outdoor sirens, emails, and digital television. So this makes me laugh because digital television does not work. You're not going to get it. Power's out. There's no emails. There is no internet for anything. If you're lucky enough to have a cell phone signal, you may get an alert. This is too much money going into this for some uh, precise locations for like your outdoor warning sirens, and your GPS obviously would not work with you very well if you have something interfering with your signal. This is a laugh. This is a lie. But, you know, the sirens were here because of the war. And this was kind of an interesting thing that I found here on Wikipedia. And it goes through the different countries and how they use sirens. And in the United States, it goes into, this was originally a World War II alert. 3 to 5 minutes, steady, continuous siren tone. So you have this, which I find interesting. These are our grandparents who know this siren as what it is today, as your air raid, your attack. Now we look at this as a tornado. Okay, which to me raises some pretty big alarms for the days that we live in today, the time that we live in today, because it's very likely that we are close to having this again, and you're going to sound off these alarms, and nobody's going to know what it's for. Yeah, and I would be guilty of that too. You might be out. It's a beautiful day. Everything's good. Radar doesn't show any rain. There's a siren going off. Why is there a siren going off? And it just happened to be that particular day that we are being attacked. Pearl Harbor, come on. It wasn't like there was a warning, right? They just came over. And that's how it is. They just come over. That's what we do. We just go over. And I think a lot of people are going to be harmed because we're not taking certain things seriously, and we're not being trained to take this seriously. We've been a very spoiled country with not having to worry about this, but it does talk about these different ones. I found it's just really interesting, and the how the blasts are and how the sound is a good read on here. Yeah, your most common is your alert sound. So So that's another thing there. I'll link to this, so I will keep this up here. So here we are. Who controls these sirens? Okay, so we know that back in the day we had to have a spotter that, they went out, they storm chasers, and they're like, oh yes, I see a tornado. They call it in, they sound the alarm. Okay, well now we have this Doppler radar that indicates rotation and will sound the alarm. And then you also have your chasers go out and verify as well too, and that's a good thing. So this talks about how that works. It says the central dispatch activates the sirens to alert people in the areas who are outside. Remember, outside, so they can turn on their TV and their radio. So they are activated with a signal from the National Weather Service that indicates the tornado has been spotted, strongly indicated on Doppler radar. Damaging winds. The alert goes off in specific cities or towns that will be affected. Now, this is not true, but that's what this who wrote this story is saying, and this is not exactly sure. Oh, but yeah, okay, not throughout the entire county. Well, yeah, well, again, that's a little false. So they may be doing this on their local thing. I'm not sure. Maybe they are writing this in this county. I do not know how to say that word because he talks about that there are 50 of these sirens throughout this county. So I would assume that he is focusing on this county when he says that it goes out in certain cities and not the whole county, wherever that county is. Okay, so now we know who controls these sirens. It's going to be a spotter who calls it in. It's going to be a National Weather Service who sends off an alarm or something, according to this one. Okay, but okay. So I wanted to see how many does our county, Baxter County, have, and it says it has 30 sirens. I don't know when this was updated. Let me just okay, my mouse has been finicky today. Let me see, when was this? Okay, it's not going to give us that information. So I don't know when this was written, but we have 30 sirens, all programmed from our 911 center. In the event of a tornado warning, the 911 will activate the sirens to alert the public to take shelter. Okay, we have 30 of them. Here we are. This I could not find a date on. This was very interesting too. The tornado policy, whoever wrote this. There's been a lot of talk out there about tornado sirens and their use, and I've been working hard on getting the word out to everyone that tornado sirens are not intended to warn people indoors. Okay, so that's another thing. We have become spoiled to hear those sirens indoors. I happen to live not very far from one, like not even a half a mile from one. And when it goes off, you can hear it. And of course, when it does its weekly siren, you can hear it in this house. However, since 2020, since that time that they started updating all the sirens, if you have been keeping up with that, it has not been as loud as it once was. And I can tell you right now, some of these people who have pull and power in the county very well can complain and have sirens be less loud or muted because it was inconvenient for that so-called powerful person and they're sleeping or whatever. It's just too loud. I don't like it. It hurts my ears. Let's silence it. And it is not helping. Now, you could say, oh, no, 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 no. They don't do that. They wouldn't do that. Look, people do that. That's just it. But I can tell you personally from ours is not as loud since the updated thing went through. I was at a home. I don't even know where the closest siren is to that home, but it is 15 minutes drive from my house, and I could not hear it in the house. So some homes are just built where you cannot hear it, and some homes are built where you can. Mine happens to be, not only am I close to it, but my house is just an old house and you could hear it. My mother-in-law is also the same distance they're about from the alarm siren, and her house is a log house and it's very thick and you can barely hear it, but she did hear it, and that was only because she got up to go to the bathroom and she knew that there was a sound. However, she could very well sleep through that. Her father-in-law did sleep through that. My husband was sleeping through that, but he could sleep through anything. But the house that I was in, I could not hear the siren. And it was a new place for me too. I have not been there when it had rained. So I wasn't sure if I was hearing rain or if I was hearing wind. And it took me a very long time standing in front of the window, waiting for the lightning to be in the right direction, waiting for a car to drive by, anything so that I could see if the tree limbs were moving or not. I just had no idea if it was wind or rain that I was hearing. So, this is intended for when you are outside. Okay. Well, I was not outside and I could not hear it, and my power had went out and I could not determine my situation. So this person thought it would be a good idea to find out the policy of each county in the states. About a week ago, the Arkansas Department of Emergency Management sent an email to all county emergency managers. This is a wonderful, wonderful idea to dig into this and shed some light. I'm glad I found this website. So he's conducting a survey. Please explain how they activate their sirens. Do you sound them when your entire county is placed under a tornado warning? Do you have the ability to sound only the sirens which fall within the National Weather Service warning polygon? If a citizen of your county reports a tornado or a funnel cloud, do you sound the siren? Does that person who report that have to be a trained spotter, or can it be anybody who calls it in? These are very good questions. And I don't know exactly where all of these counties are in Arkansas. But I am in Baxter. I am in a tri-county area, Baxter, Fulton, and Izard. So I want to take a look at this. But some of these are very interesting too. So if a citizen reports a tornado, we try to confirm it with a spotter. And then they might sound the alarm. So Baxter County at this time, again, I don't know when this website was created. I could not find a date anywhere. Okay, but at that time there were 32 sirens. So remember back on that other website there was 30. So perhaps this is an upgraded one. So there are 32. And when they issue a warning, We also utilize the Alert Express. I don't know what that is. And this is all handled via a 911 center. That's all they're going to say, which is sad. But I'll tell you from experience, Baxter County sounds the whole county. All the alarms in Baxter County goes off. So now I want to go down and find Izzard and Fulton. And along the way, we might find something interesting. Izzard County, we are struggling with this issue. Currently, the policy is that 911 dispatches the sound of alarms for the entire county anytime that the National Weather Service issues a warning for any part of the county. Excuse me. What this causes is unnecessary alarms in portions of the county. For instance, the last activation was for a tornado warning for the very south end of the county, covering only the city of Mount Pleasant. All alarms were sounded, even though the rest of the county was in clear blue skies. And this causes the nursing homes and hospitals to move their patients, even though there is no direct threat to them. I am so happy that they brought that up, because that is true. Now, have you tried having, you're a CNA, you're covering one hall, you got maybe 10, 12 rooms, you got 2 per room, and you got to get all them people up and into the front of the nurse's station. Yeah, that's hard work. We've discussed this with the sheriff on several occasions, and he has not modified the policy. The concern is that the weather warnings move as the storm pattern moves across the county, and the 911 dispatchers may be busy. Yes, they may be busy, believe it or not, and they may miss that warning and not sound the alarm. That is very true. And yes, just very true. In addition, we do not currently have an all clear signal. Oh, see, I did not know that. And speaking of that, we in Baxter County never got an all clear signal. The word is that the siren sounded 3 times, not too far, back to back, 3 times, and never gave an all clear. As I said, we are still working to improve this warning. So this is in Izzard County. So the lady that I'm babysitting for works in Izzard County at a nursing home. She was hearing the sirens, of course. So they would have never got the all clear because they don't have an all clear. But that's, yeah. So, of course, 911 maybe, why wouldn't they be busy, right? A storm goes through, you're collecting those calls. I need an ambulance. I need fire. A storm went through, I have no house. And they are being bombarded now. And the storms are continuing across the county and or into another county. Who knows? Yeah, I see that is very problematic there. So, what was that? Izzard? So, I need to go down and see. Well, I guess Fulton wasn't on here then if we're going alphabetically, huh? Did y'all see a Fulton? A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Yeah, so Fulton County is not even in here in this survey. Then, of course, we have Little Rock, the head honcho of it all. I will go ahead and leave a link here in case you guys would like to take a look at that if you're in Arkansas. One of these counties that you live in might be on here, and you can see how they work. See, people aren't educated on that one either. Okay. All right. So now we know that most of our counties is county-wide. It's not specific locations. Everybody must take cover, supposedly, if even if you're not in danger, which again is why we always run to our TV, we run to our radio, we run to our phone. We are looking for that radar. We want to see the track of that storm. But again, if you are a Ryan Hall follower and you keep up with him during some live storms, you will have noticed in recent months that the radar is not exactly being true to current events. For instance, it will say it's not raining when it is raining, or it will say it's not raining that much when it's raining a lot. Or, there's a most recent one that I had seen of his that I was watching. He was giving out warnings to cities ahead of the storm coming that this tornado is coming your way, to take shelter, to notify your friends, to do something, because the National Weather Service had not issued a tornado warning for that place that it was fixing to hit, and they did not do so well after it had hit. So, knowing this in my past experience and things that I have seen, I cannot trust a radar, even though that's the first thing I want to go look at. I want to go look at this radar, and then I'm going to go ask myself, can I trust this radar? I know that KY3 radar for me is behind, so it will say rain is coming, rain's on top of us. It is not raining. I know that within about 20 minutes it's fixing to start raining. So I've learned to read the radar for my area. Um, but I don't always trust this radar. And having seen some things, I'm wondering if we need to be more diligent in our weather related emergencies. We can't just keep depending on a cell phone signal being there. We can't keep depending on alerts to come through on our phone, or depending that the power grid is always going to be there, or that radar is accurate and has not been hacked in some way. Okay, so that brought me into the hacking thing, because I know that it was recent that we did have some weather sites that were hacked and weather radar that was hacked. And while I'm not going to pay to read all of this article, it was just here to say that this journal did write a story about how it was hacked on that Wednesday, 4 of its websites in recent weeks. And it is apparently not the first time that this had happened. So I just wanted to throw this up here because it is an article that was written stating that weather sites have been hacked. And of course, this was from 2014. That doesn't make our year any different. So this has been going on for a very long time, and it was only brought to my attention within the last month. Okay, so again, Weather Service radar warning systems fail during severe storm outbreak. And this was in April. That's probably about the time that I did learn about hacking. Okay, so what do we got here? We got a network outage. Okay. So that was on a Tuesday. It was severe weather moving across. This breakdown had lasted for more than 4 hours. So how would that make you feel when you may be in the path of a severe storm, a severe tornado, and you have no access. You have no access. And if this weather service radar, we know can trigger your sirens, right? So the radar is messed up. You're not getting a warning, are you? So how does that make you feel if you're not getting a warning and it hits you? And you may be lucky enough to survive to be mad and complain about it. How does that make you feel? And this is what had happened back in April. Network just well, I can't say that word today. 122 offices. 122 offices. Each responsible for monitoring the weather, warning the public. Look at there, about 50 tornado and thunderstorm warnings, which included Missouri, Illinois, and Kentucky. So they needed to sound 50 of them, is what they're saying, and they weren't able to. See, it was not the first instance of such network failure. This has happened before. So more isolated outages occur as often as once a month. Ongoing, happens all the time. We're not perfect, they say. And that's true. They're not perfect. But we as citizens have begun to rely on them for our safety, for our life. And we should not, because they are a tool to use, but we should not. We should be more proactive in studying our own weather and studying our own skies and just using these as a tool. Like typically they don't have a large of a blast radius. This one was big. So this led to duplicative and delayed warnings. And when they'd come back online, they would go out again. But it had led to confusion for broadcast meteorologists. I mean, could you imagine seeing it up there on the radar and you're trying to alert your listeners and you don't even know what's going on? You have no idea. It's just like, I don't know. Take cover, hope for the best. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know. If it's raining, take cover. If it's not, then just, be watchful. I don't know. Looky there, he was receiving hand-drawn maps of tornado warning areas. Hand-drawn maps. There you are, high-tech meteorologist standing there with a hand-drawn map trying to tell your listeners, if you live here, you need to take cover. This is 2024, people. 2024. Wow. So yeah, I'll go ahead and link this one to you, that also. And then I'm just right back to this right here. So I was just doing this screenshot video for all of these for you. And then I'm going to roll some pictures and show you the reports around here. Now this storm hit. It takes me 15 minutes to drive to Sellersville. It was still too close to comfort. That's just too close. And I had no idea. I absolutely had no idea what all was taking place. And I wasn't home with my family. So my family is at home and I am babysitting for another lady. So that was hard to, we were just very fortunate. But now I'm coming in here looking at some things that I see that may have gone wrong with our warning system.